Georgia here tonight.
The Jim Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Yocklin. Welcome to the 2006 Jim Dog Show. And as you know from last year, our team captured its 6th national championship and 14th SEC title. So this 2006 Jim Dog team has a lot to live up for. With me today is Associate Head Coach Jay Clark. We opened our season 2 weeks ago in Cancun. Jay, tell us about it.
Well, I think Cancun turned out to be a great environment for us to get the season started. It was a nice, obviously the weather is nice and the environment was wonderful, and we got to do some things with our team that helped us with that ever-important team chemistry. But more than that, the meet itself was a nice, non-threatening environment in a ballroom situation, which is what most club gymnasts are used to competing in. So we were able to shake the cobwebs off in a situation where we didn't have to worry about the pressure of 10,000 fans, and we really got off to a good, solid start against some very good teams.
We did. We hit actually 23 for 24 routines in Cancun and beat strong teams, Stanford, Oklahoma, Denver, so it was a terrific start for us. A week later, we open at home against University of Maryland, and those are the highlights that you'll see today. In front of over 9,300 fans, we opened our season, starting with Megan Doolin on the vaulting event. Megan's a sophomore from Plano, Texas. She's doing a Yurchenko with a full twist, and it's actually a very strong vault, good form, nice and high. She pikes in the landing and has a very large step, but scores only a 9.725.
Manny Pasquale gets Maryland started off on the uneven bars. You can see her legs were a little bit apart on that mount. Pretty good handstand to a giant fold, to a Tkachev. Straddle back to handstand, a little bit short there as well. I believe that was supposed to just been a stoop on, but she covers it with a sole circle. Kipcast handstand, a little labored, a little muscled there at the end. Two giants and a double layout, where she lands fairly cleanly, goes 9.725. Good start for Maryland.
This is Ashley Kupets, a junior. She's doing a Yurchenko with a half turn to a front pike. Hops to the side, but a really strong, explosive vault. Her score is only a 9.775. The judges are really scoring tight. These first two vaults are scored below a 9.8, and they are strong. Ashley's one of the best vaulters in the country.
Katie Heenan up next for us on the vault. Katie's become one of our strongest vaulters and has really improved her vault this year. You can see this, the dynamic, beautiful Yurchenko fold, a small hop there on the landing. She gets on the table. There's a little bit of an elbow bend there that could have been part of the problem. But other than that, a great vault, scores 9.8. Next up for us on vault was Courtney Kupets, the younger sister of Ashley. Same vault, they did the same vault, beautiful vault there. You can see just a hop there on the landing. Courtney gets on the table very, very nicely. Big vault from the side, and on the other videotaping, as you can see, a slight knee bend, which is probably part of the scoring problem. 9.825 was her final score.
This is Tiffany Tolnay, a freshman from Dallas, Texas. Beautiful Yurchenko 1.5 twist. I see nothing wrong with that vault, but that small hop on the landing. It is explosive, dynamic, really, really high. You can see that she is very comfortable performing this very difficult vault. She comes on backwards and does a 1.5 twist and just a small hop on the landing. She scores a 9.9 and ends up being the highest vaulting score of the day from a freshman, Tiffany Tolnay. So after the vaulting event, Georgia really looked like they were doing a good job. The team was really confident.
This is Audrey Bowers getting us started on the uneven bars. She nails the first handstand, does a very good job here. A nice giant full to a Tkachev. The straddle back to handstand. This is a really nicely done bar routine. It's a little bit stock in terms of difficulty. She does have a big dismount coming short on this handstand, which really cost her quite a bit. It was a big, beautiful double layout dismount that she took a step on that she really didn't need to take, but I think warm-ups having trouble kind of was in her head, and she was just being very cautious there.
This is Nikki Charles. She's got a new bar routine this year. Right here she ends up doing a giant full to a half, but it's supposed to be actually a giant 1.5, so that was a cover-up to an in-bar Ginger. You see a little leg separation there, and that Ginger actually was a little bit low, but it's a new combination for her. This routine is entirely different than last year's. And the first time she's doing it is tonight. She did not compete on even bars in Cancun. So this is the first time with Nikki doing this routine. It's actually done pretty well up until right here at the dismount where she takes a huge step on an easy dismount. She scores a 9.8.
Rachel Colon on vault for Maryland. Rachel was a transfer from University of Michigan. Does a Yurchenko layout half with a front. A little bit piked in her hips there. She scores a 9.625.
This is Abby Stack, another freshman on the Georgia team. She's from Charlotte, North Carolina. Abby's very versatile. She does a lot of different turning skills. You can see here that she turns and does an invert handstand here and then does a half pirouette out of that. Abby's biggest problem on the bars are her handstand positions. She's not always all the way up into the handstand position. So far, things look pretty good for her. She's going to finish up here. Here's an handstand. That handstand wasn't too bad, actually. A giant full pirouette, which is late. She gets ready for her full twisting double back dismount. A little sloppy with the legs, but you can see that Abby's got a she's got great potential for Georgia on this event.
Katie Heenan up next for us on the uneven bars. She's an All-American on this event last year. Does a toe on and off with a half turn, a blind change there, which is a C to an immediate D release. Does a bail to handstand, which is a D release. A little short there, but immediately connects it to another C release for her toe on uphill. And then swings very, very nicely through her blind change to an E-level dismount double front, which she sticks. A little bit of leg separation there, but goes 9.875. Good start to the season for her.
This is Rachel Martinez back from Maryland on vaulting, and she does a Yurchenko with a full twist. A short landing, never really shows control, and scores a 9.55.
Courtney Kupets on the anchor position for us on the uneven bars. Packed with difficulty here, you'll see. Toe on and off Shaposhnikova, overshoot to handstand, that's a D to D connection. Immediate toe on uphill, which is another release for her. A hop full, which is an E, connected to a Tkachev, which is a D. Kipcast handstand, a little bit soft in the body from the side there. And she's winding up for her big dismount, which is a double layout. Beautifully done. Nails the landing and scores a 9.95.
After two rotations, Georgia leads University of Maryland 98.25 to a 94.55.
The Jim Dog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By Makar Homes. Makar Homes, built with passion for over 50 years. Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal health care organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty. You. By Golden Pantry. Golden Pantry, we've got what you need. By the John Bull Stores of the Bahamas. John Bull, the shopping mecca of the Caribbean. And by Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes Honda, the official car dealer of the Georgia Gym Dogs.
It's official. Honda Cars and Trucks have made history. For the first time ever, Motor Trend Magazine has presented a single automaker with the top two awards. The Honda Civic and the Honda Ridgeline are named the 2006 Motor Trend Car and Truck of the Year. The all-new Civic offers a new level of performance and design. And the Ridgeline, it combines toughness, a smooth ride with innovative features. See why it's not just a truck, but a Honda. Learn about the Ridgeline and the new Civic at North Georgia's oldest Honda dealer, Phil Hughes Honda in Athens.
With over 26 active communities in the Atlanta area, Makar Homes is committed to providing superior customer satisfaction before, during, and after building your dream home. From affordable townhomes to luxurious estate homes, Makar has a plan and a neighborhood to fit almost any lifestyle. A certified professional builder with over 40 years experience, Makar Homes is built right where you want to be. For available home and home plans, visit www.makarhomes.com.
Ask Suzanne, brought to you by Makar Homes. And this week's question is, Do I think there'll be any perfect 10 scored during this year's season? And yes, I absolutely do. We have so many potential girls out there that could score a perfect 10, and hopefully we'll have one soon. That's Ask Suzanne, brought to you by Makar Homes.
Well, we just finished up our first 2 rotations, and as you can see, our vaulting team is very, very powerful. We've got to work on those landings. We didn't stick any of our vaults today. Bars was much improved over the first week. I was very pleased with how we did there. Courtney Coupette's bar routine was absolutely beautiful, with the exception of the Tkachev being a little bit in. Suzanne, what do you think we are at this point in the meet?
Well, we're pacing a 196, which is, well, that would be a terrific score this early in the season. We scored a high 195 in Cancun, and if we can do a little better than what we did last week and just continually improve from week to week, then that's exactly what we want to do. That's what we want to accomplish, is just to improve from week to week. But now we've got, you know, the balance beam, and that's the biggest equalizer of any event in women's gymnastics. So things can change rather quickly on this event. Let's see what happens. So far, Georgia looks great, having no mistakes on vaulting or the uneven bars. We head over to our 3rd rotation. And Lilburn gymnast Audrey Bowers is our leadoff on this event in today's meet. She competed balance beam in Cancun and did a great routine, which earned her the spot again this week. She does a layout to begin her beam routine, and that's 3/10 bonus right off the bat. Also a switch leap, straddle 3/4 on the balance beam, and again, bonus there for her, a C to another C. And here is a straddle jump, immediate back tuck, and she lands really low there. That gave her her biggest deduction of the beam routine. Her dismount, a round-off double twist, is a C-level dismount. She takes a step on the landing, scores a 9.75.
Up next for us on the beam is freshman Tiffany Tolme. She won this event in Cancun. She's packed with difficulty. That's a big side. That's it. That skill should be done. Beautiful flip-flop layout. She only does a 2 series, and you'll see that some of the other girls do 3, but she's got so much more difficulty in the routine that it really doesn't matter. Nice front tuck. She lands high. Switch leap to a straddle jump to a back tuck for her leap series. That's worth 3/10 of bonus. The flip-flop to a double tuck. A little bit of a step on the landing, but otherwise a very, very nice routine. She goes 9.9.
This is Jenny Scott of Maryland on the floor exercise. Jenny opens her floor routine with a double tuck. That's a D-level tumbling pass, and she stuck that very nicely there. Jenny's a junior from Virginia. Her middle pass is a double pike. She's competed on this event at regionals last year as an individual. She finishes her routine with a front layout, and that is a deduction with this year's rules. You must compete with at least 2 Ds in your floor routine and finish with a C+ bonus.
Up next for us on the balance beam is Nikki Childs. Nikki was a second-team All-American on this event last year. Nikki has a beautiful line both on bars and on beam, and that's sort of her hallmark. Here she does her series of flip-flop layout, and that's a fall that should not happen from a second-year kid who's been doing that skill for a lot of years.
This is Katie Heenan next up on balance beam. Katie was the SEC champion on this event last year and scored a 9.95 on beam at the national championships. Here she is doing a 3-flight on beam. Now this year, if a gymnast does not do a 3-flight, they must do an additional D salto. So they're really putting the requirements, raising the requirements on every event this year. Katie does a front tuck, which is a D-level skill. So you'll be looking for gymnasts to perform a D-level salto in their routine besides their flight. Her dismount, a double back, and a little low landing there, but she saves it, and she scores a 9.825. Most of her deductions were in her dismount.
Rachel Martinez up for Maryland on the floor exercise. Rachel's a very powerful tumbler, opens with a beautiful double layout there. Rachel was an all-arounder in the regional competition last year. Right off back handspring, 1.5 punch front. Is worth 1/10 of bonus. And then she finishes up with a nice double pike that she stiff legs the landing and has her chest down. That's going to be a big deduction. She goes 9.675.
This is Courtney Coupette, who is our anchor on the balance beam. Courtney is so precise and just so beautiful on this event, and she does 11/10 of bonus. Even though the maximum you can be rewarded for is only 5/10, she does 11/10 of bonus. Here's her switch side leap, which she does like nothing, absolutely nothing. She does a front tuck right here, and there's a wobble. Typically, she will do a straddle jump immediately following that front tuck. She does a switch side to a gainer layout, step out, another combination on beam, and another wobble for Courtney. This is very, very unlike her. Her dismount, flip-flop, double back, and not a good routine for Courtney. You'll see her much better next week. She scored only a 9.8.
So after 3 rotations, we lead at this point 146.625 to a 141.0.
Hi, my name is Liza, and I wanted to know what Katie's favorite junk food is.
Thanks for the question. My favorite junk food is anything chocolate, but especially M&Ms.
What do you do when you're involved in an automobile accident? When you're in an accident, you need to make 3 important phone calls. 1, call the police. 2, call your insurance company. 3, call to make an appointment with the Arrowhead Clinic. Don't take a chance with your health. The Arrowhead Clinic has more than 25 years of experience in treating crash injuries. And for your convenience, we specialize in insurance documentation, relief, recovery, results. Call now for the location of the Arrowhead Clinic nearest you.
The Georgia Gym Dogs are red hot. Hot team. Cool water. Melwood Springs, now available at Golden Pantry. Golden Pantry, we got what you need.
Hi, my name is Megan Doolin, and my golden moment was our vault rotation last year at NCAA's because it was just an amazing moment, and we knew we were on our way to winning the national championship.
Well, like I said, the dreaded balance beam, and it wasn't a great day for us on beam at all. As a matter of fact, we did have 2 falls on that event, having to count a fall in our total score, and will probably keep us from hitting that 196 mark, which we were pacing after the first 2 events. So that's unfortunate. But now we're moving over to floor exercise, and the Georgia team is always strong in this event. We feel like we own this event, the floor exercise. The routines are new, they're exciting, they're all different, just great individual styles. You're really going to enjoy them. Let's take a look. Georgia has over 9,000 people at this opening home meet. It's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, something new, so families can attend the competition. We're looking now at Abby Stack from Charlotte, a freshman, and she has just a lot of explosive power. She opens with a piked full in, a full twisting double back, and does take a small landing deduction right there when she landed stiff-legged. Her middle pass is a whip to a double full, which is 1/10 bonus for adding the 2 together, and her last pass, a double pike, is a D-level skill. She does that pretty nicely right there, very easy. She finishes that like it's absolutely no problem. Abby's really going to give Georgia some big scores in the future. That's a great meet for her, 9.8.
Tiffany Tolnay, another freshman, up next for us on floor. This is her first time doing floor for us. A beautiful Arabian double front. Her landings were a little bit unsure in this meet. She had not done an awful lot of numbers to get ready for this meet. That's a front full to a front layout, which is a C plus 1/10 of bonus. And then she finishes with a double pike. You can see she really struggles with that landing there. A little bit tired, a little gassed at the end of that routine, but still pulls out a 9.8.
This is Angela Ferg of Maryland. She scores a 9.675 on this routine. Starts with a front tuck mount, which is a D-level skill. And that is a requirement this year that you do a D-level salto if the gymnast is only doing a tumbling series of 2 skills. So that's something new, and you're going to see a lot of scores, a lot of routines scored a lot lower this year than they have been in the past. Maryland really struggles with staying on the beam in this competition. They have a number of falls. Angela is one of the gymnasts that stays on. And here's her dismount, which is a front full twist in a layout position. She scores, again, a 9.675.
Brittany Smith, our lone senior, who had struggled to this point on this night, she's fallen on both vault and on beam, opens with a beautiful whip, immediate double pike. Brittany's really been a consistent performer over the years on this event. A round-off whip half to a front full. It's a little different than what she did last year. You get a 10th bonus there. Then she finishes with a double tuck. There's another D-level skill at the end. Finishes very, very well. Nice high on the landing. 9.825. We were a little bit miffed at that one and thought we should have gotten a little bit higher score.
Back to balance beam and Rachel Martinez of Maryland. Rachel was an all-arounder in this competition. You saw her over on floor, open with a double layout, so she's got a lot of power. Here she's doing a standing front tuck. That is hard to do. Her dismount, a back handspring with a 1.5 twist, and she scores a 9.65. That looked like a good routine.
Courtney Kupets up on floor for us in the 5th spot. Opens with a double layout. Pretty well done. A little bit of pike down. Chest was a little bit low on that. Not too bad. Comes back in the middle. There's a front handspring, front full, front half to Shushanova. We get a 10th bonus there. And then we finish with a nice high double pike dismount. Beautifully done. She had a little bit of a lunge there on the landing. She went 9.9, and this freshman is really off to a great start for her.
This is Rachel Colon. She scores a 9.7. That was a switch side leap, and you can see she was not in a 180-degree split, so that was a pretty weak leap from her. Maryland finishes the night with only a 188 score, so that's the largest margin of victory that Georgia's ever had, or that's had since 1998. Maryland really struggled throughout the evening, staying on the equipment. Rachel right now is actually one of the better routines that they do on the balance beam, the best routine that they do on balance beam all evening. And as I said, she scores a 9.7. There's her double twist dismount.
Katie Heenan, our anchor on floor, and as you can see, what she's known for is just very dynamic everything on floor. Front double full to a front pike. That pass right there is worth 4/10. It's a very, very difficult pass. Comes right back with a double pike, another D-level skill, and then finishes up her last pass, the front handspring, front full to front layout half, step out for another 10th bonus at the end of her routine. Katie goes 9.875, and just an absolutely beautifully performed routine.
And that gives Georgia the win with a 195.825, and that's counting a fall on the balance beam, 195.825 to Maryland's 188.3.
I was so excited. I've never been to a Georgia gymnastics meet before, so just to come out and see the fans go crazy and the fireworks and everything, the lights, and I don't know, just the whole atmosphere, it was amazing, and it really pumped me up, and it pumped up our whole team, so it was amazing. Just standing out there, we're all just getting pumped up and just ready to get out here, run through the fireworks, and just get our names called. It was just incredible. I had so much fun.
Routine of the Week brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center. And this week's Routine of the Week is Courtney Kupets on the uneven bars as she scores a 9.95 in the opening home meet of the season. That's Routine of the Week brought to you by Athens Regional Medical Center.
Down came the rain, washed the spider out. Out came the sun, dried up all the way, and the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
Very good. Dispensing technology and nursery rhymes as needed. Athens Regional Medical Center, a passion for medical excellence. Drop by drop, pure, refreshing, a trickle becomes a stream. Flowing from the source. Refreshing, fresh. In the store or at your door. Millwood Springs.
Countdown to NC2As, brought to you by Melwood Springs. And this week, the rankings are still going by the high score of the season, so it's hard to read an awful lot into that. But right now we have Alabama #1, followed by Florida, then Georgia, and rounding out the top 10, you see Penn State with a 194.875. And that's Countdown to the NC2As, brought to you by Melwood Springs.
Well, there you have it. A good meet overall for Georgia, a little bit higher score than what we scored in Cancun. So for the first 2 meets of the season, you know, my assessment of where we are right now is that we're a lot stronger than we were last year at the beginning of the season. We have a lot of depth, a lot of options, and a very athletic team. That's the part I really like about this team. They're athletic, they're in shape, they're quick, they're very versatile, and I think they're just going to be a lot of fun to watch throughout the season. We threw a lot of difficulty on floor exercise, and we hit it. So, again, that was a strong event for us today. Well, what do you think, Jay, about not just this meet, but the first 2 meets of the year?
Well, I think we're moving in the right direction. And like you said, we're light years from where we were this time last year. I think for a lot of reasons, we've yet to put our strongest lineup in at any one time, and I think we're going to continue to move in that direction. But as we go through the season, different meets call for different things, whether we rest somebody or whether we just need to get someone some experience. So we're moving some things around the lineup, but overall I think very, very good. If we don't count a fall in this meet, we're above that 196 mark, which is where we want to be, and we just got to cut out some of the small mistakes that are typical early in the season and start thinking about hitting that mid-season form.
And look at those 2 freshmen, Tiffany Tolnay and Courtney Kupets. They were our highest scores on every single event. Tiffany on vaulting and balance beam, and Courtney on bars and floor. Our highest scores, again, were from freshmen. Right. So just a terrific start for all the freshmen, including Abby and Paige, too. It looks like we're just going to have a good season, strong season, with a lot of changes in the lineup and a lot of things to look forward to each week. We'll see you next week when Georgia meets University of Arkansas at home in Stegman Coliseum.
The Jim Dog Show has been brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. By McCarr Homes. McCarr Homes, built with passion for over 50 years. Brown Arrowhead Clinic. Arrowhead Clinic, Georgia's largest spinal health care organization. By Athens Regional Medical Center. At Athens Regional, we have a specialty. You. By Golden Pantry. Golden Pantry, we've got what you need. By the John Bull Stores of the Bahamas. John Bull, the shopping mecca of the Caribbean. And by Phil Hughes Honda. Phil Hughes Honda, the official car dealer of the Georgia Jim Dogs.